If he does get traded, this is all hypothetical. Let's say he gets traded. Heaney either gets traded or doesn't get brought back. Falter ends up, he's probably going to be in the rotation, I would assume, next year. He's had a really good year this year. But let's say everything changes and the Pirates go with the all youth movement on the mound. Skenes, Bubba Chandler, who hasn't made his debut yet, Jared Jones, who comes back from TJ, hopefully about halfway through the year. And then you got Mike Burrows, who's been getting better this season, just had a great bounce back start against the White Sox. Hunter Barco, who is in AAA, left-hander, who is showing some really good strikeout stuff. Doesn't throw as hard as these other guys, but has really good slider and hides the ball really well. Just very intimidating presence on the mound. And let's say Braxton Ashcraft gets thrown into that mix as a guy who could either be a long guy or could be a spot starter, or, even throw him at the back end of a bullpen like we saw in the first game against the Tigers. He threw the 7th inning in that first game against the Tigers, came in after Skenes right in front of Santana and Bednar. And think about that, Jordy. Think about Skenes for 6, Ashcraft, Santana, and Bednar. As a hitter, you just kind of, hey, this was fun, guys. Thanks for the game today in Pittsburgh. We're just going to go home with this shutout. That's what it feels like, right? Do you think there's any problem or something that maybe would make you nervous about going all youth going into next year?
Yeah, I think that would be the only concern. To me, I feel like that would be the only concern. Just the fact of experience. I think that's the biggest thing. And you know how valuable experience is in the playoffs too. So if, let's just say we do make a run and they get into a situation, not only are they going to get better, but, I think having that playoff experience goes a long ways in making a deep run. But on the flip side, that's a dream scenario. What you just said, having let's just say that 1, 2, 3 punch of what you just said right there, I might be good enough for me in just general, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like what you mentioned, what we talked about a little bit for Keller early on, is you need a little bit of maybe veteran experience to show how to prepare, to show how to go about the widths of the season, the grind of the season, but also you have such good young talent coming up too as well, and you don't want to, get in the way of that either. So it's a fine line. It's a fine line of going youth. It's a fine line of, calling up all those prospects up together and putting them in the rotation because they're good enough. Let's face it, they are. We know that they've been good enough for a while. We've seen it. They're going to go through their ups and downs in the big leagues like everybody else is, but I think they're going to figure it out. The more you're here, the more you're going to figure it out. So it's a fine line. It's so weird seeing how the Pirates continually to put out really good pitching, really good young pitchers that continue to produce those year in and year out. It's like this year's been the talk of Bubba. Next year could be the talk of somebody else. Next year could be talk and then now we just, our draft pick that we just got. It's crazy the amount of pitching that we have. That's excitement coming through the system. And the last thing you want to do is hold those guys back, right? And let them continue to develop, especially if they've already conquered every level, and push them up and see what they're made of. But so it's going to be interesting to see because the rotation is there and the rotation could be something really special. We're seeing it now across the league too. The league's getting younger. We knew that, right? I think the pitching staffs are getting younger in general too as well because kids are more developed before they even get in the system. And then their overall potential and overall just better in general, I think, with better stuff. And so they're relatively moving quicker than a lot of other or back in the day, I guess, pitchers used to, unless you get your, Max Scherzers, Verlanders, things like that. But so it's going to be fun to see like these young kids come up, and I feel like all of them blow doors too. It's crazy. All of them just throw 100. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, I'm so glad I'm not playing anymore. I'm just so glad, dude. I can sit back and watch and just enjoy the show.
It's funny because when we were playing the White Sox, the Pirates are unfortunately losing 7-1 in the eighth. And the White Sox, who have one of the worst bullpens in baseball, bring this guy out, number 61. I don't even remember his name. He looked like he was about 19 years old, and he's throwing mop up innings, and he's throwing 99, 100 miles an hour with an absolute banger 88-mile-an-hour curveball. And it's like that's what you're dealing with now when
Yeah.
you talk about the youth coming up and being ready. Nowadays, it's like, hey, might as well fill this bullpen full of guys that throw 100 and just kind of see if other teams can get the bat on the ball, right? I mean, it makes sense. But yeah, I remember I was the long guy for a while, and I was like a lefty throwing 92. That feels like a long guy to me, but now we're seeing that that's changed quite a bit. I will say this young core coming up, it kind of reminds me of when 2017, 2018, when the
Mhm.
Pirates didn't necessarily we didn't have necessarily the best seasons. 2018 we ended up right at 500, a game over 500, but it was, James and Tyone, Tyler Glass now, Trevor Williams, Chad Cool, me sometimes, you threw Nick Kingham in there. There were a lot of guys that were
That's right.
young, that were exciting, that were coming up all around the same time. And I do think that this is reminiscent of that. And we didn't see those guys get to stick together as long as I would have hoped. Musgrove, for example, he could have been, such a special Pirate. He's ends up being a special Padre,
Yeah.
and good for him. But there's just it's reminiscent of that for me, and I do hope that I hope they go for it, man. Let's see what these young guys got. You think you know what I mean?
I would love to see it. I think that's the most exciting part about it is we know what kind of stuff they have. We know what kind of dudes they are. It's just a matter of getting the opportunity. You know that. It's a matter of getting the opportunity and
Mhm.
running with it and taking advantage of it. But I think getting up here and getting that experience, like I think I think everybody's ready to see Bubba Chandler, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, everybody is. Everybody sees what he's doing. So I think it's a matter of time before he gets up here, and then it's going to bring that excitement, that fans, that buzz. What Skenes did, what Garrett Cole did. I'm just throwing names out there of what potentially starters that came in here and did. It brings that buzz. It brings the city, together for that one particular day, and it brings that excitement back to um, what could be. Right. I think it's always baseball is always a hope, always looking in the future of what could be, and I think it's going to bring a little bit of a glimpse to that what could be, especially if all those guys are healthy and throwing back to back to back. Like I said, in a 5-7 game series, you're throwing those horses out there. I mean, come on. That's exciting. That's exciting to talk about, right?